Northernmost state. Clearly Alaska. It's way the hell up there, right? Southernmost state. Hawaii. I think Hawaii edges out Florida. I'm pretty sure. You can check that. Westernmost state. Clearly Alaska. Easternmost state. Alaska. It crosses the date line. The Aleutians cross the line that make yesterday from today, which makes it the easternmost and the westernmost state at the same time. Insane. A fluke of geography wins you $1 a bar. And Maine should be, because Maine, it's often said, Maine is the first state to see the sun. It gets the earliest sunrise. Except the Aleutians, typically the Aleutians got it first, because they got it yesterday.
So explain that to a guy in a bar, a drunk guy in a bar.
Just $8.
He's gonna hate you. Yeah.
But make sure they're not so drunk they can't reason with you. It's a very fine line. It's a fine line. Alright, so anyway, I felt terrible about not having the correct size of Alaska, so there's our results with our map. We're going to come back to this today. Let me check something real quick. That's too high, so let me go over it. Right before.
No, I did that in high school.
Oh, that's actually not bad. Right there. Alright. How we doing? How is this?
Awesome.
Well, one thumbs up, dead silence otherwise. Alright, good, good. Just the right amount of torture, I hope? Just the right amount of torture. Go, Lauren, yes!
We're all stressing out about question 4, A, B, C, and D with the time on the exams.
4 ABC. Tell me about 4 ABC.
It's the degrees where you
Why are you stressing?
because we all got different answers.
Interesting. That is interesting.
That's
Well, let me put minds at ease first before we talk about that in more detail. Number one, there is a rainy day exam coupon I have not mentioned before now. That when you get your exam back, so go ahead, turn in what you got, relax, all is well. You get to resubmit with a certain number of corrections with that coupon next week. So when you get the exam back, if you missed any points, it will allow you to make up. I forget how many. It's either 5 or 10. I forget how many it allows you to make up. So if you goofed up 1 or 2 of those, you might be able to correct get some of the points back. So that's the first thing. Don't sweat it. I don't believe in dead assessments. That's why I give you the rainy day quiz coupon and the rainy day exam coupon. That way, if something happens and you didn't get a chance to answer a question to somebody just said they forgot to do number 2. Then you can do number 2, resubmit it, and get the points back for number 2. So I understand it's a lot of work. I also know that it's posted for 2 weeks, but sometimes that's almost as bad as not having it posted for 2 weeks, because it gives you almost rope to hang yourself with. So
Been done for 5 days.
exactly. I never know how much time to give you guys. Like 2 weeks, is 2 weeks too much? No. Okay, then I'm gonna keep doing it. So I'm gonna keep doing it then. So the rainy day will take care of points wise. But as far, forget points. Let's make work for understanding. The key element of that question and what makes it such a fun question is, what do you have to account for? And I told you this. You have to account for how many times I have to stop or Dave has to stop for 30 seconds. And it's always what? What's the relationship between the number of victories I ran?
1 less.
It's always 1 less than the number of victories that I ran. Because the condition was I crossed the line as the whistle blew at 15 minutes. I don't take a rest after that. Actually, I do. I go and pass out after that. But I don't count 30 seconds. I sit in there and drink a big bottle of Gatorade and vomit on myself. But the first one I run, then I rest. Then I run, then I rest. So each run is followed by a rest, except for the last one. So that was the key element, which is, I'm guessing, is why you guys were getting different results, as some of you had different numbers of rests, or you weren't accounting for them, or something like that. Okay? Otherwise, it could just be a rounding error, which I don't really care about. I just like to let those go. So if it's like, if somebody puts 42 and somebody puts 41.67, I'm like, whatever. It's the same number. I tried to make it easy. I just saw a couple 42s come in. So that's what I'm saying. I also saw 41.67 in the last class. I don't care. I know I told you to round to the nearest second, but I'm also not a second grade teacher. I figured you could round given enough time. So, even 2 weeks. Cool? So set your minds at ease. All is well. All is well. Was that the most aggravating question?
Yeah.
That was the most? Okay. No, not so much about it. So for you guys, yes.
Well, just because like I thought it was fine, but then I was like, well, let's compare. What did you guys?
Oh, and then you start.
And I was like, oh crap.
But then what do you start doing? What do you start doing then?
Second guessing yourself.
But how do you? Thank you for the correct answer. How do you mitigate that kind of fear for second guessing yourself? Am I recording? Yes. Good. Why is that white? Oh, because it's on the light. How do you mitigate the fear of second guessing yourself?
Well, I was just like, what did you guys do in your process
Yes!
that I didn't do?
Or what? Hang on now. Don't kill yourself. Like, what did I do wrong? What did we all do?
Yeah.
Don't put a negative on it like I did something wrong. Like, what did we all do? And let's see if there's any intersection in what we did. And maybe it's just due to a typo, which it very often sometimes is. I notice when I'm looking through, somebody does it right twice and then does it wrong a second time. I'm like, oh, that's just simple. So don't assume that because your answer doesn't match your friend's that you're wrong. If everybody did that, well, hell, where would we be? Somebody might be right, but you'd never know it because you thought you were wrong. That's why I like, and also, this you'll learn from this as well, don't wait until 5 minutes before it's due to do that. Maybe chit-chat the day before when you've got more time to relax. And I had one student right at the end of class bring up to me like, I got a question on this, and I just took it, put it in the pile, put it in my bag, and walked out. What the hell? What the hell? You had 2 weeks. Why you wait until 2 hours after it's due to ask me a question on it? I mean, and I'm not saying that you guys are doing that. Obviously, you're not doing it. But if you take the time element out of the panic and do it like the night before, or email, trade email addresses. They only have one more of these at the end of the term. I know exams are frustrating. Was it better having it out of class than in class?
Yeah.
Good. This is an experiment. I want to collect data on for you guys later on to see if you like this versus the traditional in-class assessment process. The questions are definitely quote-unquote harder because I couldn't ask these kinds of questions in an in-class assessment. It would take too long. That's why the 2 weeks. I want you to have the time to get it. But that's what meaningful statistics has done over time. That's the whole idea. You can't rush through and just get a meaningful answer. Meaningful answers are gotten by. Say that again?
They're worked for.
They're worked for, and they're observed. You have to keep observing and saying, okay, I'm seeing something, I'm developing that. No, that doesn't work. Okay, maybe we get something else. It takes time. It takes time. So relax. That's great. And after this class is half over, which is kind of hard to process. Halfway through the term today. Weird. I hate these 10-week quarters. I despise them actually. But you guys are here, so it's all good. Cool. Any other concerns?
Move on, I don't want to talk about it.
Want to talk about it anymore?
Nope.
Okay. Stop talking about it. Talk about other stuff. Any other concerns? Right now, that you're worried about, concerned about, thinking about? Next week, I posted a couple quizzes for you. One of them is on the stuff we're going to continue to talk about today. We started talking about it on Tuesday. Relative position is what the technical term is. I put another variation quiz up because honestly, I kept getting great questions over the past couple weeks about, I'm confused about that question where you asked me to interpret the standard deviation. Some of you may have gotten hung up on that a little bit. Like, I don't know how to interpret S, that sample standard deviation. So I said, you know what? Let's throw another quiz up. Another quiz on standard deviation. Can't hurt. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. I think you might want to. It's pretty straightforward. And I believe there's a little bit of a standard deviation calculation in the other quiz as well. So I'm trying, it's good. So I'm trying to cycle. I'm trying to not lose old topics while we pick up new ones. It all interrelates anyway. And you'll see again today how it does that. Other questions? What questions do you guys have, if you have any right now? Is it a relief to get that done?
Yeah.
Yeah, get it done. Hand it in. And you're going to do phenomenal on it, anecdotally. I've been watching these things come in for 20 years. I can only imagine with extra time it would be that much better. I can't wait to see the graphs you guys came up with, or the statistics, the misleading stats you guys came up with. I can't wait to see that. I've seen some really freaking awesome ones already, so I'm excited to see the other ones that I haven't seen yet.
Yeah, my friend was already had a draw line.
That's okay.
Interesting.
That's okay.
I like it.
Beautiful. Excellent. It's quite all right. So, where are we now? Well, we're at roughly halfway temporally and also halfway topically. We're about to cross over into the world of explicit probability. There is a project next week, remember. It's a probability project. It's the continuation of the first one. And I tried to space it out so that it didn't come too closely on the heels of the first one, but it also came after the first exam. So just don't give that the time it needs to. There's not much more math in that one than the first one, but there is more math. And for some reason, this one's all about multiplication. Just so you know, heads up, this one's all about multiplication. And for some reason, putting that multiplication in freaks people out sometimes. There's some exponents in it, there's some multiplication in it, and I don't know why, but yeah, as soon as you start putting exponents in things, people start getting like hives. So, I don't know why, I wouldn't wait until next exponential hives. I wouldn't wait until, I guess that's probably how it works. I bet you they split kind of exponentially. They probably do. I just don't wait until Wednesday night to start it, because if you get stuck, I can't help you between Wednesday night and Thursday morning. And tutors can't either. So work with people, download it, start looking at it, maybe do a little bit at a time. It's got a chunk of reading before it because I type like I talk, which is like a West Coast or East Coast Italian. So you have to kind of wade through that, but wade through it.
I apologize.
Wait, it's okay, don't you worry about it, Carolyn. But wade through it. Wade through that stuff, because that stuff is explaining concepts as you go. If you try to jump right to the questions and attack them, that's going to be a big mistake. It's not going to make any sense. It's not going to make any sense. Look at what I'm working through. Look at the logic behind what I'm typing up. That's why the damn thing's 10 pages long. Most textbooks don't bother explaining why formulas work. That's all that project does, is explain why formulas work. And that's why students, maybe even one or two of you guys have asked me this question. A lot of times when they go to OSU or other schools to take stat classes, their profs make them use formulas for everything. Formulas. And that's fine. I'm not judging here. I don't make you do that. But if you look at all of our assessments, the projects, sometimes the quizzes, definitely in class sometimes, and the videos I post, all that stuff is in there. It's just I don't make you regurgitate it back to me. If you want to know why something works, you will never be far from an answer as to why something works in time. But there are shortcuts, and I think the shortcuts are more important than a regurgitation of a formula, but you kind of have to know why things work before you can use the shortcut, if that makes sense. I know in our lives it's not the case at all. When we use cell phones, I couldn't tell you how a cell phone works. I have no friggin' idea when I push that go where it goes. I'm sure it goes to some tower somewhere. I mean, I can explain how GPS works, but I can't explain how a cell phone works. But in mathematics, part of the reason of being in school is to understand why things work, and that's kind of why the projects end up being 10 pages sometimes, the explanation of why. It's also why they live on their own. You don't see those show up on exams. You didn't see Project Or on their first exam at all, which is intentional. They're their own exams. All right. We okay? Told me to just drain out of the room. I apologize. I keep saying that word exam. I'm gonna stop saying it now. I start talking about states we visited. Yes, more important. States we visited. So here are the results of the states. You guys might want to crank out your TIs. I think I had you guys save your states in L5 last time. I think I'm gonna go ahead and stop this again. I'm gonna leave that